This is my review of Steven Universe episode 114 titled Steven's Dream. There's going to be a lot of spoilers in this review, so you have been warned. Hello and welcome to the very first review of the 5-episode review I'm going to be doing of the new Steven Universe episodes. First and foremost, like I had just said before the little theme song there's going to be lots and lots of spoilers here. If you have not seen the episode, go see it. It's on the internet somewhere. It's very short. It's 11 and a half minutes. Go watch it. If you haven't caught up with Steven Universe, you haven't watched almost any Steven Universe, and you want to listen to this anyway, I suggest going to see it. A lot of it's not going to make sense, but if you want to listen to this, you're going to want to at least watch this episode. But like I said, you've been warned. It's going to be a play-by-play review. I'm going to be talking about little parts of the episode. If I would have heard this before watching this episode, I'd have been pissed. So I'm warning you now. Go watch it before listening to this. But if you hadn't heard my announcement earlier, I think last week it was, I'm going to be doing a review of all 5 new episodes of Steven Universe that came out last week, starting with the first episode of the 5, which is episode 114, titled Steven's Dream. I'm very excited to watch all these episodes. I am doing watching one episode, and then reviewing it. So as of right now, when I'm recording this, I have only seen one episode, and it is so good. I'm so hungry for the next one. I'm so excited. If you don't like Steven Universe, first off, I don't know why you're still listening, but oh my god, it brings me so much joy and also pain for a freaking kids show. It's stupid. I'm almost mad at myself for it, but without further ado, I may as well just start talking about this episode and not just my love of Steven Universe, because that could go on for a couple hours, and we don't got that kind of time. So with this episode, it starts off with a really weird shot of some flowers, and I was very confused coming into the episode because watching this, I watched it on Dailymotion, and I thought that maybe this wasn't legit. Maybe it's just kind of like a cutscene from this thing, and then in like a minute it would say, if you want to watch the whole episode, go to this link and download it, like I've seen so many times before. Because it seemed to just start so abruptly, like, oh, what the heck's happening? Then he's waking up crying, like we didn't get any precursor. Obviously, if you've seen the episode, you went further and you realized why I did that. I just jumped the gun on assuming that I was wrong. But, so it jumps to that scene, and he wakes up in his dad's van crying, and he doesn't know why he's crying. It wasn't a bad dream. It wasn't anything like that. Probably one of my favorite parts of this scene is that Greg, his father, I'm not going to actually, you know what? I was going to do that, say Greg, his father, but if you're listening to this, you probably know who Greg is. So Greg says, you were sleeping, and I was going to let you sleep because it was really cute, but then you started crying, and it was less cute, which I thought was hilarious. So they're watching some movie in the back of the van, which I want to point out that I think it's a little weird. They're like their father-son relationship going on, because if in real life I knew some 12, 13-year-old kid was going to visit their dad on occasion, and instead of like them just hanging out like at an arcade or whatever, he was just like, hey, my son's gonna come hang out with me in the back of my van and watch a movie. Like, it'd be weird if you saw their relationship in real life here, you'd think it'd be weird. But with Steven Universe, I guess it's just normal. I have to ignore it. But he says, would you look at the time? And this fancy new watch shows his little new watch that he got, which I thought was kind of clever, kind of funny. Unnecessary, but still, I enjoyed it. So he needs to bring him home because it's getting late, and obviously he already fell asleep watching this movie. So as he's bringing him home, Steven's about to go up the stairs to go, I don't know, to bed or whatever, and he stops and he asks Greg, and he says, did Mom ever say anything about Pink Diamond? And at this point in the series, we know, or at least we're led to believe, that Rose shattered Pink Diamond. We don't know for sure. We don't know what happened. And that's one reason I'm very, very excited for these episodes, because it seems to be giving us answers for a lot of these questions that have been destroying my brain for the last few months. So he asks Greg, what did Mom ever say about Pink Diamond? And he said, she likes to keep that stuff in the past. We don't like to talk about it. We talk about things like feelings and, what makes us the people that we are. He says Rose was a very good person. He says something along the lines of, very very big heart, very warm person. And one thing I want to say about that is he does say Rose was blankety blank blank, which I thought, you're talking to your son and you don't just say your mom, you say her first name. It was off-putting for me the very first time I watched it. I put it in my notes. I have a couple notes here jotted down from like my first reactions from the episode, and that was one of the first things I wrote was, Rose? Don't you mean mom? Like, little odd that you're calling your son's mother by her first name, but I digress. But he says, we've all done bad things in the past. There's things that we regret. He says, I thought disco was coming back and your mom started a war, which I thought was very funny. But he's saying, I don't know what your mom did, but it doesn't matter. I know she was a good person. I know she had a big heart, and that's what matters. She was a good person. I don't know what she did. But Steven, has all these questions, but he's a little relieved by his dad's answer, so he goes to bed and he has this dream again. So it opens up in the very first scene with the flowers, with the field, but you can hear Steven's voice said, hey, I'm back in this dream. Now I can look around. So he's looking around, he sees a tree, and then he looks over and he sees this spacecraft type thing. We've seen this in previous episodes a little bit, but not a ton. So we have no idea really what it is. But it's all crashed and kind of like mangled into the earth, like it's been there a while. And he said, what is this? I'm very confused. So he wakes up. It doesn't really tell you a whole lot with this dream. But he wakes up and he's crying again. And he has no idea why, because it wasn't that sad to him. He's just like, I don't feel the emotions, but I'm, bawling my eyes out. Here's one criticism I have for this episode. This next little jump scene. It jumps straight to Connie pushing papers off the dining room table or whatever and putting down a book, which will be the next scene, but it doesn't explain how we got there. It was him crying. He's like, what the hell? And then boom, Connie. Oh, what's going on? And then it shows Connie bringing back Buddy's book from, I don't know how many episodes ago, but she says something along the lines of, Steven, you explained this dream to me, and I think I know what you're talking about because I remember reading it in this book. So now, we have to piece, as an audience, we have to piece together that he had this dream. It's been at least probably a day for him to tell Connie about the dream and then her to show up with the book and do this. It's a very weird, short jump to this scene, but with 11 and a half minutes to go, per episode, I think that's okay. Sometimes you got to make these cuts. But that was the one thing I was just like, what the hell just happened? He was just in bed at night, and then boom, Connie's there freaking destroying the place with papers. I'll clean this up later. Fuck you, Connie. I'm just kidding. I love Connie. Hold on. Let me back up a second. Maybe I don't love Connie. She's great. I'm glad she's here. I'm glad she's a human in Steven's life, and I'm glad what they're doing with her, but maybe I don't love her. We'll see. We have more episodes to go. We'll figure out my real feelings toward Connie. And feel like they're not 100% love, but I digress again. So she explains to Steven, what you explained, I remember reading in Buddy's book. And here it is. She opens to the page with the picture from what he saw in the dream. It is drawn just like he saw it in the dream. He's like, that's it. What is that thing? And she explains that it's a palanquin. And I could not remember that for the life of me. I had to rewatch that part like 3 times and then write it down the way I think it should be spelled. Palanquin, so I have it written here. So if I refer to palanquin again, it's the little spire that the diamonds travel in. Anywho, so she explains, hey, this is what it is. And he's excited because he's finally getting some answers of why he's having this weird dream, but, nothing really figured out. And then enters the 3 gems, pearl, garnet, amethyst. And he's like, well, they should know. Let's bring them the book. So he brings them the book. He shows it to Amethyst and says, Amethyst, what is this? What's this all about? And another really good line I thought was Amethyst was something along the lines of, Stephen, I don't know how to break this to you, but I have no idea what this is. Because we all know it's going to be a big deal. I mean, he's crying from this dream. It's very, elusive to what the hell is going on. And Amethyst not knowing what it is and then coming with that, I thought was really good, comic relief, if you will. Also, I have in my notes, Amethyst looks really great with her hair pulled up like that. I know she's a freaking cartoon, and I don't care. She looks great with her hair pulled up. I think she should keep rocking it. She's very funny in this whole scene. She's like the comic relief because the scene is very heavy. When Amethyst says that she doesn't know what that is, he shows it to Pearl. She's like, oh, well, let me see. I'll probably know what it is. And she's like, whoa, okay, let's change the subject. Kind of like a parent if the kid was like, hey, what's a blumpkin? And the parent was like, oh, well, you want to go see Trolls in theaters? And the kids are like, yeah, I'm not going to talk about blumpkins anymore, yeah. She acts like that. The weird part is when Garnet overlooks and sees, what's going on here, she freaks out. She loses her cool. And at this point, I have no idea why. It's very weird seeing her like this. She seems nervous. She's like, you're not allowed to go there. You can't go there. You're upsetting Pearl. Stop it. And Stephen comes out with this little angsty attitude, which is well-deserved because he has not been told the truth. Maybe he hasn't been lied to, but he needs to know what's going on. I mean, now it's affecting him in his dreams and this stuff, and they won't tell him what's going on. So Garnet is very, very strict on, you cannot go there, drop this now. And as he's leaving, he's like, I'm going, I don't care, I'm gonna go figure this out. If you guys aren't gonna help me, F off, I'm going. So he steps outside and Garnet follows him and is like, she's begging him not to go. And he's like, why won't you tell me? And she's like, I wish I could, but I can't. And he's like, well, I'm going. And she says, I can't go with you. And he said, why? And she says, I just can't. And he just again asks, why can't you go with? And she says, I'm scared. And which just blew my mind. She says, I'm scared. I don't want to see her, or something like that. She says something, she's there. And Stephen then perks up and is like, wait, she? Now I need to know what's going on. Who is she? And, what's going on? I'm going. My whole thoughts on this was, she's scared. Like, that blew my mind. That's like seeing your dad, like, shave for the first time and he's a different person, or seeing your dad cry. It's nuts. Like, it kind of, like, made me hold my breath for a second. Garnet is scared of this. And Stephen really wants to go. Garnet can see the future. She obviously knows something messed up is going to be happening. Why can't she tell Stephen? Like, maybe there's if she tells Stephen, she knows what the outcome of that would be and it'd be worse. But there's so much that could be solved if you could just say, hey, Stephen, by the way, I saw the future and you shouldn't go there because, your dad's going to be abducted, or, if we all go with you, then they're going to figure out where the gems are and they're going to kill us. So let's not go. But apparently that would make for a really boring cartoon and nobody would watch it. So that struck me, but he said, nope, I'm going anyway. And she's like, oh, there's nothing I can do. You see all 3 of her eyes. She takes her sunglasses off and she's basically crying. And that whenever you see the 3 eyes, it's it's a big deal. Man, so he goes up to Greg in the back of the van and says, Dad, I need your help. And he, he's a little concerned. He's like, whoa, everything okay? He's like, everybody, is lying to me. Nobody's telling me the truth. Basically, he feels like just everybody's like adulting him. You know what I'm saying? All these adults are keeping him down. He's a young kid, but he needs to know the truth. This is a part of him. He's part rose quartz. He's having dreams about this. Like, why won't people tell him the truth? And I think he expects Greg to adult him as well. But Greg says, whoa, like, calm down. Like, if you want to go to Korea and go find this thing, let's freaking go. And Steven's like, really? I was like, you're going to help me? after all these people are just like not helpful, lying to me, all this stuff, Greg is the freaking best dad ever. He's like, let's do this thing. So enter freaking my favorite character, Uncle Andy. He's only been in 2 episodes now, but God, the episode he was a gem harvest, or oh man, maybe that's a future episode. I might be mixing the names up, but the episode he was in was probably my favorite episode. He's voiced by a voice actor who plays Carl, the neighbor from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. If you don't know who that is, he's a very rude, nasty, fucking white dude with a shitty wife beater and sandals. He's just the greatest character ever. He's probably one of my favorite characters from that show. And the voice actor plays Uncle Andy in Steven Universe in 2 episodes now, and he kind of, and maybe this is just because his voice is this way, but he kind of reminds me of oh my gosh, I'm Carl the neighbor, mixing up all these names now. He reminds me of him because just the way he talks, he says friggin', and I know that's like such a little thing, but friggin' hippies like just made me just die. It was so great. It's just I picture him as Carl. Carl is related to the universes, and that's just amazing. So anyway, I digress. That he's the greatest character. But he has a plane. So he calls them up, and now that they're, reunited as a family of the DeMeos, which is apparently Greg's original last name. He just changed it to Universe because he's a rock and roll dude. He calls up Andy and says, what's up? We need a plane. So they're in the plane. They're going to Korea. And Steven says, this isn't fun and games. But Greg's like, well, maybe a little bit of fun and games. Enter montage in Korea. It's Steven and Greg going around Korea having a time of their life. They're trying on different clothes, which is a great little tiny clip. They're eating food. There's a scene that he thinks he sees Steven from behind, and he kind of like taps him on the shoulder, and it's like an old Korean man because everybody kind of looks like Steven from behind. And the best part of this, it's a very, very short montage, but the best part is they're walking through like an office, and Greg walks past an animator who's animating Greg. From that scene, like you can see, like on the clipboard above them is Greg wearing that new shirt he's wearing, and I had to Google it. There's a couple studios in Korea that work on like the storyboards and stuff for Steven Universe. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's the storyboards, and they just like, hey, if we're in Korea, might as well like add these people in there. So the fact that they did that, just it's such a short like 1.5-second clip, but I thought it was so funny, and I didn't even know the backstory on it. So if you noticed that, you probably thought it was funny too. If not, you're heartless and you're lame. So after the little montage, they said, all right, let's freaking get to the thing. Why we're here. We only got 11.5 minutes per episode. You know what I'm saying? So they get on a bus. They go to where the map in Buddy's book leads them to. And the one weird thing I thought was when Greg says, like, he says something in Korean, like, goodbye, thank you, or something like that to the bus driver. And the bus just takes off really quick. And Greg really quick's like, wow, you in a hurry or something? And I'm wondering if that is like, saying like, hey, the locals kind of know not to be around this spot. Not sure what. I mean, I know that there's some gem activity, but the fact that there's just a crashed gem ship, I don't know. Very weird. It's not even a bus stop. They're just dropped off in the edge of the forest, basically. So they walk, and as they're walking toward it, they come to a fence, and there's a sign on there that says, keep out. And then underneath on like a smaller wooden board in nice handwriting calligraphy, it says please. So it says keep out please. And Steven starts like crying again, but he's not sad. Again, he's just crying. And Greg's like, yo, should we slow down? He's like, no, this must mean we're getting closer. Let's hop the fence. They hop the fence. He starts crying even more. And they're like, all right, let's keep going. And then they come up to the palanquin. But it's a blue palanquin, and it's not all crashed. And he's like, this looks like it, Steven says, but something's different. It's not crashed. This is like in working condition. I'm confused. And my first thought is, oh my fucking God, Blue Diamond is here, and I'm about to lose my shit. And guess who was right? Me, Sam Fassler. I was right. But then they hear something, so they hide behind some bushes, and then they see the pink palanquin that he saw in his dreams. Like, that's the one. And you see a hooded, big old figure standing next to another pearl. That obviously isn't our pearl. A very lifeless looking pearl. But see this hooded figure, you know it's Blue Diamond. And you hear her very, very softly. And I had to rewind this because the speakers on this computer are just garbage. But I had to rewind this to make sure I was listening correctly. But oh my God, it's so sad. It's like, I'm so sorry. I couldn't do more. And she's talking to this pink palanquin, which obviously belonged to Pink Diamond, which we know she is shattered. So she's dead. So she's saying something. And it's just heartbreaking. Like, the only real clips we've had of Diamonds was Yellow Diamond. She's just a fucking bitch. She's a rigid asshole. And she, you know, you don't want to like the Diamonds, but this is giving like a new perspective. Like, what the hell is going on? She says something along the lines of, you know, and I think I wrote it down here. She says, Yellow says it'll all be over soon. I wonder what you would think. This is your planet after all. Saying that to, you know, obviously a dead Pink Diamond, but Yellow says it'll all be over soon. Like, obviously we know that Yellow is trying to destroy planet Earth and all that. But she says, I wonder what you would think. Like, do not all diamonds want the same thing? It sounds like much more empathetic Blue Diamond here. So after this, Pearl hears them behind the bushes and is like, I think I heard somebody. And to really save them both from being caught, Greg jumps out of the bushes and is like, hey, you know, I'm just figuring some shit out here. What's up? And it's like, were you guys close? He says to Blue Diamond. Says we were very close. And Greg says, you know, I lost somebody I was very close to as well. I think about her every day, talking about Rose. And she said, I can't believe that a human could feel the same way that I feel. You know, just like she acts like humans are so much lesser, you know, like animals, basically. And, you know, obviously maybe we are to them, which is fine. But she says something along the lines of, you know, this planet's going to be destroyed. I don't think you deserve that. You're coming with me. Boop. Steals him. Brings him to the ship, the little palanquin, and a giant ship comes out of the air. And it's just a giant blue arm. And he goes, that's a big arm. Takes them in the palanquin, sucks it up into the blue arm, and boop, takes off. Steven jumps and floats towards it, trying to get back to his dad. You know, oh my God, my dad's getting abducted. That's probably not good. I'm going to be stuck in Korea. I'm only 12 or some shit. But he does not get there in time. They freaking travel at light speed. They're gone. And he's devastated, and he's falling back to Earth, and Garnet comes out of nowhere and catches him, and he says, she's distraught as well. It's like, I'm so sorry, but I knew I couldn't be here, or they'd figure out where the gems were, and blah, blah, blah. And he says, what are we going to do? He's like, we're going to go to space. We're going to get your dad back. And that's basically the end of the episode. And I have chills just thinking about this right now. Like I said, I haven't seen the next episode, but oh my God, I'm so excited for this little podcast episode to be over so I can go back to my computer and watch it. There's so much to this just 11.5-minute episode, the first one out of 5, that is just mind-blowing already. I already watched it twice, kind of skipped through it the second time a little bit because I just want to get through it and watch the second one because oh my God. But there, you know, I have a couple things I you know, that stuck out to me that I wanted to mention. Steven can supposedly see through Blue Diamond's eyes. That's what he assumes. He goes, oh, I've been seeing through her eyes and I've been crying her tears. Well, I don't know if Blue Diamond has been there for a few days when these dreams started. I highly doubt she's been standing there crying for 3 days at minimum. But, you know, at least seeing through her eyes at that present time, crying her tears. But why? Why are they connected? You know, obviously it's not Steven that's connected to Blue Diamond. He's never seen her or really even heard of her before. But Rose Quartz, as he's part of Rose Quartz, how is she connected to Blue Diamond that would make him cry these tears? I hope to God that there's some explanation, at least in the next few episodes or ever, that says why. Because if that was obviously he needs a reason to want to go find this palanquin. But if they don't give us a reason, the only reason was, well, he needed a reason to go find the palanquin. I'm going to be very disappointed, but I feel like they won't do that. They'll have a good reason why they're connected. I'm very, very anxious to figure that one out. Another thing I have written down from the second time I watched it was when the first part where he runs up with the book to Amethyst and says, "Hey, have you know what this is?" And then Pearl sees it, and then Garnet freaks out. It's like, "You can't go there." Steven responds with, "I already know that Mom shattered her." And Pearl just looks devastated, just horrified. Like, we as an audience, we don't know what happened yet, but I like, what are Pearl's thoughts? Like, is she disappointed that it happened? Obviously, like, she's hurt, but is she like upset that Rose Quartz did it? Does she know that, it had to be done? But she's just so devastated. This is the little bit of animation that is her face. It's just nuts to me. It's just, you should go watch that scene again and just watch her face. Absolutely crazy. And then I have written down here, is this Steven's angsty phase, or is he finally just fed up with not knowing about this stuff? I mean, it's been plenty of time. He went through the episode Bubbled, that whole ordeal. He went through being in space and pretty much condemning one of the rubies to death in space. And as we know from the episode where Stevani is practicing like combat, and they kind of fall apart, first because of Connie, but then because of Steven, the end of that episode was the most heart-wrenching, like, oh my God, that there's been, I think. But we obviously know he's dealing with a lot of his own stuff with bismuth and with the rubies. And since we know that, like, I think he deserves to know what's going on, and he's been, like, bottling it up. So if it's his angsty phase, or is this kind of well-deserved? I think it's well-deserved that he says some pretty harsh things to the gems, but, they're still not telling him what's up, and maybe there's a good reason, but he really, really lashes out, kind of like the "How about that, girl?" Which I don't want to talk about anything about besides Steven Universe, but she's going back on to Dr. Phil, the "How about that, girl?" How stupid is that? I hate the internet. But I digress yet again. But overall, this was just such a great episode. Such a great start to the Steven Bomb. And like I said, I'm going to be coming out with an episode of this review once a week. Or, sorry, not once a week. Once a day for this entire week. So this is Monday. And I know that 2 episodes came out last Monday at the same time, and I'm glad they did that, because if these people would have had to wait a day, they would have gone nuts with that ending. That was such a cliffhanger. I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to upload the next episode review, so I have 1 a day, Monday through Friday. I know the episodes came out 2 on the first day and then the rest through Thursday, but I don't play by the rules because I'm making up the rules and there are no rules. How about that? Oh my God, I hate myself. Why would anybody want to listen to me talk ever? I don't really have much else to say about this one. It's a really, really good way to start the Steven Bomb. It's a really good way to make me want to watch the next episode. If you like what you hear, share this. I know there isn't much review going on, except for this was phenomenal and heart-wrenching. And just the last 3 minutes of this episode, 2 or 3 minutes, where Blue Diamond is in, and what she says and the way she says it is so heart-wrenching and made me think so differently of the Diamonds. I think just that scene alone is making this whole episode A+. Absolutely phenomenal. Steven Universe to me is always very good, but there's those few episodes where either the end is just like, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that on a freaking kids show and my heart hurts this much. Or it's just like, I need to know more. But it's these episodes that really, really glue Steven Universe together and make the fandom as strong as it is. People don't get why I like this a lot of times, and I can't really explain it unless you watch enough of the episodes to understand an episode like this. You can go watch that episode without watching any of the other ones, and it'll still be good probably, but it won't give you the feeling that, you know, us Steven Universe fans got while watching this. I think that's such a huge part of this. So I want to thank Rebecca Sugar, and I want to thank the Academy, and of course God, because I just love it. I just love everything about Steven Universe. Yeah, so come back tomorrow and listen to the next episode, which I can't exactly remember the name of. Hold on, let me find it. Let me type in the password. Oh, I got the wrong password. The next episode is called Adventures in Light Distortion. So come back tomorrow for that one. I'm going to watch it. Literally, I'm going to hit stop on this recording and go watch it. And I'm going to probably then do another episode tonight. But it won't come out until the Tuesday after this one came out. So be on the lookout for that. Share. You can't subscribe because I don't know if I'm putting this on YouTube or just on Facebook. I don't know. Just share. Don't subscribe. I don't come out with stuff a lot, so don't waste your time. But thanks for listening. I'm Sam Fassler. That was my review of Steven's Dream. One a week. What else do I gotta say? I gotta say thank you for listening for this long. It's been, what, about a half hour? That's not bad. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.